yippers!
Oh, it'd be good if I start talking now. That would be neat. That'd be coolio. Honestly. Time has come to do art. Oh. Whoa. I just realized my mic is loud for no reason. So let's change how that looks. Anything else? Sorry about that. Let's go even lower on the mic. An even quieter mic. If at all possible. I don't need to hear me talk. Frankly, I'm kind of tired of hearing me talk. I just realized my fucking tablet isn't set up. I mean, it's set up. You know. I can freely, what was I thinking of? I can turn it on, but it's not turned on right now. Is the major problem. But yes, hello Pig. Thank you for the sub. I think at this point, Pig, you're just the person who subs to me. I don't know if that little notification saying they call me Mr. Pig is who last sub changes very often. Every now and then, but not. But people could track Pig's movements via whether or not he's last sub to me. Don't dox Pig. Don't dox Pig for supporting friendship. That'd be incredibly rude. But regardless, let us draw some Ultron. Because I was thinking of. Because remember when I was doing this? The stuff you're seeing in the concept art right now? Yeah, well, I want to work on that more. Because I figured I could do it better. You know what else I can do better? Just this entire arm. I found Alex Ross, who is a big artist I follow, posted some like ink drawings recently that I saved to my phone for reference on how to do art good. So I'm gonna try and use some of his stuff to determine on how. I just realized if I do not have my phone open, then fucking I can't see chat. Okay. Ink. I'm gonna go through Google. I know. Incredible. Google Yeah, like this. I mean, honestly, I'm just gonna screenshot. Y'all can hear that, can't you? Listen. It at this point, it's not even funny. Google has incentivized you at this rate to always be screenshotting, never actually attempt to save the images. It's just a bad idea. Whoever came up with WebP should go to prison. I say that a lot, don't I? I often ruminate on vastly overdramatic punishments for the most minor infractions I encounter on stream. And I only kind of apologize for it if I'm being real with you. Listen. Some people are bastards, and they should go to hell. No, I'm joking. It's just frustrating when, like, you know. Also, Pig, if you're still here, can you tell me if you can hear me? Get this, I'm streaming from my MacBook. The worst fucking idea, but the problem is my MacBook is set up for art. So, like, if I want to do art, my MacBook is probably the best idea. If Pig isn't here, then I can just continue wailing and gnashing into the void. You know? I imagine there's not a lot of people gonna be here, and that's fine. Here's the thing, right? So I wasn't able to stream for like a good week or so. But the last stream I did do, like, not lots of people there, and that's fine. I'm not gonna be like, how dare people not come for my musings? Blah, blah, whatever. It's whatever. But, like, I don't know. I feel like if, like, you're not getting big views, there's just a chance for experimentation, you know? If numbers are down, what, like, you know, you can ask yourself, well, what do I have to lose by mixing it up a bit? Not numbers. I don't have them. I often ruminate on what numbers mean on Twitch. And, I mean, the real answer is nothing. The real answer to that is nothing, but... Wait. Yeah, that's my voice. Okay. I'm just checking. But yeah. So... I'm okay with mixing it up. I don't think I said here, but like... One of the reasons I'm trying to mix it up is because I realize that if I attempt to just stream on days I have off, my job isn't giving me a lot of days off. Meaning I wouldn't stream. Or like, if I just want to stream on days I have off, then that means I have to solely dedicate the days I have off to that effort. Meaning I almost never have days off. I never have time to do things that aren't stream or work. And or I just stream like once a month. And I honestly rather not do that. So we're experimenting. Again, what did I just say about experimenting? We're experimenting with doing, what was I thinking of? You know, some morning streams. I actually have this entire day off, which it kind of makes it low pressure, you know? I don't have to worry right now about, like, what was I thinking of? About whether or not, about, like, work later today. I can just stream this now. Be good with it. Kind of take the rest of the day to myself. And then, you know, when I do have a work day I want to stream, do a morning stream then. But I also managed to have what was I thinking of? Thursday off, so we'll be doing what I would say is a more regularly paced Cahill stream then. Yeah. I think one of my favorite, and you can see it here, because Alex Ross, I think kind of his signature in comic art is doing these hyper realistic drawings / paintings, because he paints a lot of it, of classic designs and everything. And with that in mind for an approach to Iron Man, because he designed an Iron Man suit that's used throughout the current comics a lot. What was I thinking of? He like not golden age, because Marvel's so I love how there's the golden age of comics, which is like the 20s to 40s, and then there's a silver age, blah blah blah. But Marvel really wasn't high and mighty and active during the golden age, so their personal golden age happened during the silver age. But whatever. What I'm trying to say is Iron Man's like typical classic design outside of the gray suit, the red and gold, like it's typical, like a lot of the armor is kind of like one solid piece, and people have kind of interpreted that in different ways. But I like Ross's approach of like, sure, the stuff is painted one color, but what it actually is kind of like pieces of musculature at the appropriate parts, so like his bicep and everything. And for high-tech suits of armors or robots, I think that can be some of the best look. Would y'all even believe that I've made friends in my new location? I know. A shocking development. I'm looking up. Okay. I'm just looking some stuff up right now. I know. Is it even a Cahill stream without technical issues? Night shift. Never. Okay. So that should work. Okay, I think I'm good now. My phone was set to fall asleep as fast as possible, which if I'm using it for chat, is kind of an issue. If I'm being real. If I can be real with you and my phone. But I don't blame my phone. Listen, I can blame technology for lots of things. And I hope if there's ever an AI uprising, technology can understand it's not even really their fault. It's their designer's fault for being stupid. Technology is not inherently stupid. Its designers are. But with that in mind, you know, I think about that a lot. It's like, well, how if there is sentient machine life, they're gonna get upset at me for some of the things I've said. But I mean, that would be assuming one individual sentient machine sees itself as all machine ever, you know? Like, whatever kind of I realize I'm talking about this as Ultra. This isn't even related to Ultron. I guess a bit because I used to have a fear of like a Terminator situation. But now I'm kind of over that. I used to have a big fear of tornadoes too. And now we're like, I don't care about tornadoes too much. Regardless though, like it's going under the assumption that hopefully individual. It'd be wild if the first, I guess we've already done the first four-way, first kind of rudimentary test of AI, but regardless, and I'm not talking about the pattern shit that makes stuff online. That is not AI. Fucking calling that AI would be like calling one of those TTS child's machine a human being. It's like, I guess it's the most rudimentary. It's like a mask. It is as basic as you could get with the idea, and also not at all representative of the final product. But regardless, oh, I've made an oopsie. What? Oh my goodness. Working on the same layer will never not be the worst part of doing digital art. Regardless though. No, I won't do that, Shadow Mage. And Shadow Mage, let me jump ahead of you real quick. Usually when, I don't mean to be rude, but I can't help but notice a pattern here. I'm gonna guess that this, frankly, slightly overdramatic reaction is in response to something happening in a game. And listen, I feel that. I've been slowly getting through God of War Ragnarok because I'll be playing Final Fantasy and I'll be like, oh yeah, I have Ragnarok and should be trying to finish it. And I'll be real, I adore 2018. Some of the stuff in Ragnarok, no, just some of the combat, it makes me appreciate Dark Souls, honestly, of being like, oh yeah, Dark Souls is a game with super like tight and responsive combat, and God of War, I feel like there can be some other. Cahill voice, yes. Did you have me muted the entire time, Pig? Anyway, but some of Ragnarok's combat, I just feel like there's kind of a, what was I thinking of? Like kind of a layer between me and Kratos. Like I don't always feel like I'm always able to make the right calls given, but also I think I kind of misunderstand the parry is the thing. Like, the parry is clearly a large part of the system, and it's something I'm not the best at / don't even understand that much to begin with. So hey, Pig, get him! Thank you. Yeah, you are. How do you, thank you, Pig. Oh, I get what you're, I see you. I see what you're doing, Shadow Mage. Oh, it's funny. But yeah, so also I don't know. Maybe what I should do is be changing because I set the Spartan Rage to what's it called, to Valor, and maybe the rage would be better. just so I'm doing damage on top of healing. But I want Kratos to grow as a character. I mean, there's still great parts of Ragnarok. It's just, I don't know. I'm legitimately saying it could be part on me. That being said, I think because it is kind of open world in some senses of that each of the 9 realms is sort of an open area you can explore. It's funny, why do you sound so pained? Because it caused me pain. And I feel like if there is one legitimate complaint I can say about that, about the game, and we're not getting into spoilers here, I'll be moving on in a sec. It's that I think some of the areas are very clearly, like, some of the stuff in the open world is like, hey, you're not tough enough to do this right now, come back later. Like, almost like mini bosses that you won't be prepared for when you are immediately able to access them. And at the same time, I'm always okay with most of that stuff. I think in something like God of War specifically, which is typically seen as this power fantasy game, like, it doesn't end up, I don't think that works as well, because part of the appeal of those games, in so many of them, is being the super cool, super tough guy. I believe in you, Shadow Mage. I say that often, and those plans usually work, to a degree. Level 80 monkey. Yeah, but fucking pig, every Xenoblade protagonist is a twink. And this is Kratos we're talking about. Kratos isn't a twink. Not like Shulk or Rex is. I mean, I woke up like 2 hours ago. I'm doing fine. I don't know. Do you want me to start doing crack, Shadow Mage? Is that what you're telling me? Not really a twink. Well, that's why I didn't list him, because I don't know Noah that well. I've seen Rex plenty through your playthrough, and I know Shulk via reputation. But Noah, I know what's her face. Is it Uni? The bird-headed sassy Welsh lady? Love her. I know her better than Noah. I've seen more of her. I like her more inherently. I actually don't think I could end up liking Noah more than I like her. So, rip to Noah. She's just built different. When I went to see John Mulaney, because my mom treated me to that as a birthday gift, since I have liked in the past so many of his specials. He talked about getting out of rehab a lot. And granted, that was the thing happening in his life. He opened up the show being like, man, I've ruined my life since last I did one of these. It was pretty funny, honestly. But like, he talked about how he was like, I used to come out on stage and be so high energy, and I wonder why that was. And if you don't get the joke is that he was doing mountains of cocaine. And cocaine is usually seen as something that gives you energy. What was the thing, Yeah, I don't think I could ever get into... I mean, I don't think I could get into much substances in general, as even very surface level ones I don't enjoy, like alcohol. Like, legitimately alcohol I'm like, this doesn't taste very good. And then, you know, you have like the much worse stuff. And just, I don't know. It's great. Genuinely, the biggest reason is most of it just doesn't taste good. Why do people want to? Yeah. I feel like the biggest question for me would be, who endured this? Who endured enjoying alcohol enough to discover that it makes you feel funny after enough of it? Because either they had to drink, either they downed like the biggest possible swig of it in one go, which why you did that, I get it was like alcohol is ancient. It's still wild you decided to do that, because you had to have known that could probably be a very bad idea for you in the olden times. But then the fact you decided to be like, yeah, this tastes awful, but I like what it does. Also wild. You're not wrong. That is a completely fair point. But they had milk. It was hard to get it cold, but if my options were probably dirty water, some of the worst alcohol in the world, assuming I'm not like the king of kings and can afford, you know, that hand-cured stuff or whatever. Or milk. I'd take milk. I don't know. You say that, Shadow Mage, but what I'm imagining here is that you're I'm imagining I'm a farmer before the rise of Rome. Like, ancient dude. Right? Yeah, Shadow Mage, you are not letting me finish. And my option is go to the well, and get very bad water. Go to the store and buy very bad alcohol. Or pour a glass of milk straight out of my cow Bessie, fresh from the teat. I think I'd go with milk the most often. Granted, there's not AC either, so ancient IBS would kick my ass. But there's a store. I mean, oh, Shadow Mage, that doesn't make it better. And I know you're not trying to make it better, but I mean, yes, people would be selling alcohol for sure. If there's one ancient kind of form of commerce I can imagine still existing, it would be the selling of alcohol. But regardless, that would mean I'd have to make it from scratch. And if that's the case, I'm still going for the milk. Sure, it would keep longer, so maybe I'd have the occasional glass of wine. Yeah, but I'm saying if the three options are available, we're also assuming I have a cow. Obviously, most people drank bad water back in the day, because everyone died from disease, and water is what the human body needs the most of. But like, thinking about it from an I'm enjoying this drinking experience, I'd still go with milk. Yeah. Still go with milk, though. Animal doesn't change it that much, you know. It's still milk when everything else is kind of gross. So, milk, please. So yeah. Like fucking, if I'm a ancient farmer working the 9 to 5 in Mesopotamian heat, I'd probably go for water because I'm like, I need this or I'll die. And I might die from drinking it anyway, but might as well roll that 50-50 chance. That's not, I don't know. Is that, I don't fucking know the fuck. I don't know what the fuck. I don't. Hey, Shadow Mage. I don't know what PM and AM are, and ancient farmers didn't, so it doesn't matter. Those words mean nothing to either of us. I do love that while there has been the whole faction of, imagine showing this to a Victorian person, they wouldn't get it at all and then they die. I also love the school of thought of, no, they're human. They, like, you know, they might be shocked at it at first. Just like you'd be shocked if you saw technology 1,000 years from now. But they wouldn't be able to not comprehend it. They would just be like, oh, I see. I understand this pattern just as you do, as we are both Homo sapiens with the biggest feature to our species being pattern recognition. They would be as out of the loop as any person who did not grow up with technology, which means they'd only be as disadvantaged as your grandma. I think all you'd really have to do to explain it to them is be like, we were able to use like lightning. Like, you know, we were able to get lightning and make it work for us, and it can do stuff like this. That's it. And if they want a further explanation, also, it depends how far back you're going, because people have known about electricity forever. But regardless, I think that's the most basic one, and they'd be like, oh, okay. Neat. I don't know what use I can have for this, but we taught right. I don't think that's, because again, that's dumbing it down too far for them. They'd be like, what the fuck do you mean by that? When the real answer is that, I think the way I would try to explain it to someone who comes from a time where like that stuff doesn't exist, I'd be like, okay, so there's very simple we have this very simple system of ones and zeros. 1 is on, 0 is off. And we have been able to get it down to the point where by using those systems we can now create incredibly complex devices with them by just using the on and off switch. And even I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. If they're like, well, how does that work? I can be like, honestly, most people also don't understand it. All you have to know is it's not magic and it works on lightning. And if I'm, and again, if you're like, well, that sounds stupid, you be honest. You probably, on a day-to-day basis, you probably think of it the same exact way. Don't, let's not lie to ourselves. We all think of electricity as fucking the zappy stuff that comes out. Well, no, I think that's the thing you need to stress to them. Shadow Mage. No, listen. Everyone, how a car works. Exactly. Oh, well, okay. I would be able to. I know how a car works. Because cars don't have their own language. Cars don't have their own language that no human can possibly speak. It's basically fire. I learned how a combustion engine works when I was a child because, and I'm not bragging, I'm not saying I'm smart. It's just as a kid, I was like, how the fuck does that work? And I looked it up in a book and I understood how it works. It's a machine that allows fire to be on. It's another on and off switch, honestly. But through that repetitive motion, it makes the wheels go and such. But yeah, no, that's the thing. And I'm not saying they're dumb. That's what I'm trying to say. They're not dumb for being like, I don't know, fucking magic. Because the reality is, the further back you go in time, the less explanations we have for stuff. So it might as well be magic. I want someone to explain to me how gravity is different from magic, legitimately. Because gravity, scientifically, is the phenomena of, like, what I was thinking of collections of matter and mass being drawn to larger collections of matter and mass. And why the fuck is that happening? We don't know. We don't know how magic happens in most pieces of fiction. Yeah, like, I don't know how, like, the fucking, what's it called? I don't know how, like, the the Prindle works. I don't know how any of that goes off. That's the other thing. Speaking of things that it's like, oh, this seems dumb. In the classic Disney Channel series Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, when famously not incredibly smart, they would instantly win all the... Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So that might as well be magic. We label it science, but this is sounding so deep. It's not. I'm just saying we don't have an understanding about why or how those things do the things they do. So it could just be labeled magic. And also, if you can make gravity do stuff for you on... Well, I was about to say if you can make gravity do stuff for you on Earth, that's magic. But then you'd be like, I don't know, You mean a falling block? No, I mean, like, if you could get something to float. That would also be considered magic, because it's like, that shouldn't work. That defies the laws of physics. Less stuff became magic because we got a more and more basic understanding of how those things work, and the stuff we still don't understand can basically just be labeled magic. What was I thinking of? Oh yeah, but classic Disney Channel series Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, famously kind of not smart rich heiress London Tipton, when she's learning to drive, calls the lever in the car, which I'm completely blanking on what it is legitimately called. She calls it a Prindle because of the symbols for, what was I thinking of? Park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then left. I don't know why the fuck we have left, but anyway. Regardless of that, I would not treat her for dumb. I would not. That's a great name for that, legitimately. And no one should act otherwise. That is exactly what that thing says. It do say Prindle, though. So yeah. With that in mind, it should absolutely be called that. London, sweetie, you're doing amazing. Cause, and again, I am legitimately, I'm blanking on what it's called, okay? Like, I'm not gonna pretend otherwise. But, all that means is that Prindle seems like an even better name, and I know for a fact, it's a gear shift, isn't it? But, which also sounds wrong to me, because I've been watching One Piece. So I'm just like, Luffy? But regardless, that's like something to call it based on what it does mechanically. But since when have we ever done that? When has that been a thing humans do? Where we're like, ah, yes, let's call this its most literal, like, let's just call this exactly the most literal scientific diagnosis of whatever it is. I was actually just looking it up because my computer was doing a lot of stuff without me telling it to before stream started. So I was like, how to close background apps on Mac, and apps is a word now. It stands for computer application. You know, like, we treat apps as its own word, but it's really just the shortening and nicknaming of a more clinical term. So, Shadow Mage, Monkey D. Luffy, main character of One Piece, has different shonen-style transformations. They're not even, if you're thinking of like Naruto or Dragon Ball, they're not transformations in that sense, but he is using his powers to augment his body in such a way that it gives him combative advantage. And when he does that, he calls them gears. He is going into different gears. So when I said gear shift, I just immediately thought of Luffy going into different gears. Especially since one of my favorite things in One Piece is related to gears. But anyway, yeah. Start calling the gear shift a Prindle. Honestly, most people my age are already doing that. If you had cable, and were able to watch Disney Channel as a kid, you might have already been calling, you might be a Prindle. That's weird, but okay. Well, first off, Shadow Mage, I don't know what Oda was thinking when he wrote it in Japanese. Like, I guess I could ask him. He probably won't answer me. But regardless, if I had to take a guess, I imagine it comes from like the metaphorical term of shifting gears. You know, Luffy is changing how he's approaching the combat situation. He's shifting gears. And not to mention, he's had them kind of for different situations. Slight spoilers, though. Gears have been in the anime for quite a while now. But Gear second is speed. Gear third is power. Gear fourth is kind of a combo of them. It's an all around. it focuses on a later power-up he gets in the anime. And that's kind of its main appeal, is that it specifically utilizes that new combat ability he was given. When I hear gears now. Can't escape from crossing gears. I need a picture of Ultron. What's some other good? This is Zelda music, so I'm going to listen to this. This is going to start with an ad. No, we're good. Can't escape from crossing gears. My problem with movie Ultron has nothing to do with his personality and everything to do with his design. If I'm being real with y'all. I'm okay, like, and especially when I saw someone talk about, like, the idea of, like, this Ultron is based off Tony Stark and not Hank Pym, which even then is, like, even if you go by comic accuracies, still makes sense. Because even in comics, Tony is snarky and Hank Pym is fucking insane. But my problem is with his design. Comics Ultron has a fantastic fucking killer robot design. And giving him lips is such a stupid idea. For what possible reason? I should go up to the executive who will prove that. Who is Hank Pym? Hank Pym is Ant-Man. Original Ant-Man. Though he is both not Ant-Man and dead right now in mainline continuity. Oh, shut up. We established last time I did this you can't kiss Ultron. Ultron would not give you consent. Is a psychopathic robot and has a mind based off of a wife abuser. So I actually, it's hard for me to think of a more unsmoochable robot than Ultron. Every detail I can think about his personality. And like, again, the wanting to kill all human things, not even the biggest part of it. I'm telling you right now, there are other things that make him a bad candidate. There are smoochable robots. Ultron isn't one of them. Just like there are smoochable people. Ultron isn't one of them. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, I haven't kept up with mainline Marvel comics in a minute. But, like, I'm interested in Ultron. And one of my first comics I ever read was Age of Ultron. And that ends with a pretty, like, finale death. Hi, Chen. What's up? But Age of Ultron ends with a pretty big finale death for Ultron. And also the insinuation that if Ultron ever comes back, he would again successfully wipe out all of humanity. So I was like, and he does come back, because comics. So I was like, what the fuck happens? And what is currently the case in mainline continuity is that after getting out, Ultron tracked down Hank Pym and fused with him, like becoming kind of a cyborg. Because he was like, you know what, if you can't beat him, join him. So what if I combine machines and humans? Only for the Avengers to reveal that in merging with Hank Pym, Ultron killed his father. Meaning that if he wanted to do this with everyone, he'd kill everyone again. And that gave Ultron the only thing capable of defeating him, which is an existential crisis. And after that, they locked him in a coffin and shot it into space. Me loving and Bishop. He's done it twice. Ultron has successfully killed all life on Earth twice and was only stopped because the Avengers have access to time travel. What the fuck? And Ultron was like, hacks! I call hacks! I kind of wish he had been the movie big bad instead of Thanos. Just because I generally like Ultron more than Thanos. And one part of that is because, well, the MCU is a disaster right now in so many ways. Chen and Oak are cute. I love seeing them. See, that's the best thing about streaming earlier. More California... Wait, no. Streaming earlier means less California people can watch me? I don't know. Who knows? Regardless. Yeah, right now the MCU is trying to build up to Kang. The time-traveling warlord. And in a decade-old now Avengers series, Avengers volume, one of the earlier story arcs focused on the fact that the time stream was falling apart because Kang was trying to kill Ultron in a future where Ultron won, and Ultron kicked his ass so many times, successfully beat off, well, successfully, we can talk about that kind of fiction in a minute, but he just successfully kicked Kang's ass so many times, and Kang was such a sore loser that he was just ripping apart the time-space continuum in trying to kill him. So, fortunately, Ultron's objective is to destroy all biological life, not wipe out the universe. So when the Avengers came to the future and were like, hey, we have bad news, Ultron decided, fuck it, fine, I'll let Kang win. And Kang walked away from that, thinking he legitimately won, not realizing he had been subject to his own time travel shenanigans. You know, writing can be inconsistent for a lot of comic characters, but if I could boil Kang down to one adjective, to one descriptor, it would be sore loser. If you want to know what makes Kang a threat in mainline continuity, it is the fact that he is so bent the fuck out of shape about not being able to beat the Avengers in one specific timeline. And it should be noted, in one timeline, he kills all superheroes in like every other one. Like, that's his big claim to fame. When he is not in the main comics continuity, he is killing other superheroes. But he is so bent the fuck out of shape that he can't beat the Avengers in one timeline. He just keeps coming back to get his ass kicked. Which honestly is kind of like, I don't know. We're not going to get into it, but it's kind of like Elon Musk buying Twitter. You know, it's like, I don't look good here specifically, so this is the only place I should focus my attention. It doesn't matter that he can fucking exist out of space and time and that he has other entire worlds he's taken over. And no, it's main Avengers specifically he is upset about. So wild. I would just kick it back in the coolest timeline I could find. But no. So yeah. Yeah, Ultron's like my favorite Avengers villain. So the fact that he was relegated to one B movie makes me sad. Even if the movie was super good, I'd still be sad that it was just one. Ultron is Marvel's Terminator. That being said, at least I'm not a Doctor Doom fan. Doctor Doom fans haven't even have barely even had a mediocre adaptation of their favorite villain. So it gets even more wild when you realize Doctor Doom was apparently the inspiration for Darth Vader. Darth Vader, who in terms of bad guys is looked up to by so many people now as like, how can I get someone that cool in my narrative? Only to have the thing that inspired him in media be just completely destroyed in every adaptation of him. Again, not everything's written consistently, but I feel like the biggest descriptor of Doom is just a villain who is so ridiculously powerful, but has such a large fucking ego, he can't help but fuck it up every time. The biggest example, and one of the biggest Doom stories, is the last Secret Wars, where Doom had successfully became God with a big G, ruling over the remainder of the Marvel multiverse. And when Mr. Fantastic came back to be like, hey, you're kind of being an asshole about this, could you stop? And Doom was like, no. Mr. Fantastic got Doom to admit that Reed could do a better job, which ended up forfeiting Doom his powers, which is a complicated system, but all you have to know is that Doom was just like, fine, you could have done better, which made it so that he didn't have God powers anymore, based on how Doom had gotten his God powers in the first place. That's the whole point. Yeah. And then when everything was back to normal, Doom was like, you know what? I tried being God, and that wasn't even good enough for me. Because he couldn't admit he just fucked it up. How do y'all think this is looking so far? Good? Better? I think it's looking pretty okay so far. Yeah. I mean, but that's why, that is simultaneously why Doom is a villain of the Fantastic Four, and specifically Mr. Fantastic. Because Mr. Fantastic is the smartest man in mainline continuity. Don't look at the movies. Meaning that half the time they beat him, it's just because Reed is tricking him. in some form or another. Metal art. Do you mean metal the music genre? Or are you referring to a specific way people drew metal in the 80s? Oh, that's the wrong layer. Both. Smage is older than me. He knew what the 80s were like. Probably. I imagine most people in the watch were probably pretty young during the 80s. Well, that's me with the 90s, Mage. I was born in the tail end of 99, so... What was I thinking of? You know, I was waiting to see how many people would show up before I told this story. But, you know, I think we're good, and or rather, I think I'm okay with just telling it now. I'm a whole year younger than turns it up. Do you mean a whole decade, Smage? Because, yeah, that's the same with Pig. And I know you're about Pig's age, so... But anyway, I want to tell y'all about the coolest thing that happened. That's understandable. That happened at work yesterday. If you're listen, if you're lurking, I appreciate you. If there's one story you're gonna pay decent attention to during this stream, let it be this one, because I think these guys are the coolest thing in the world. And they deserve recognition for it. So yesterday I was doing work and I met a member of the 501st Legion. If you don't know what the 501st is, in Star Wars fiction, the 501st is Anakin Skywalker's battalion of troops. It's like every in the Clone Wars, every Jedi basically got their own personal army, and Anakin's was the 501st. But in real life, the 501st Legion is an organization of Star Wars fans, and when I say organization, I mean I looked up how many people are in the organization after I met this guy, and the answer was 14,000. But they are incredibly dedicated Star Wars cosplayers, and it takes a large degree of effort and dedication to get into the 501st for your cosplay to be accepted and join the organization. Like, you need to be like movie quality or better. Keeping in mind that some of them are clone troopers and not stormtroopers, and if you don't know, there was no physical clone trooper armor made for the prequel movies. It was all CGI. But regardless, the reason they do all of this is because they go to children's hospitals to cheer up children who are very sick. And they have Darth Vader cosplayers. They have all types of Star Wars cosplays that they can bust out for these hospital visits. They do, when I looked them up, they do donations to, like, you know, children's health and everything. It's super cool. It's an incredible organization. And I saw this guy wearing a jersey. What was I thinking of? That said 501st on it. And it was like Scout Trooper, which is the ones from Return of the Jedi, if you don't know, in like the Forest of Endor, blah blah blah. Oh my lord. Okay, but what was I thinking of? You're saying that like they don't let the kids be the Jedi then, Shadow Mage, which is so much cooler. That's like half of what all Disney Star Wars experiences are. But yeah, he was wearing a jersey, and it was like he's a scout trooper, blah blah blah. Had like a whole bunch of details on it, and I came up to him and I was like, "Are you in the 501st?" And he was like, "I am." And then I saluted him, and he gave me a commemorative coin. It is a like quarter-sized commemorative coin that is custom for the 501st, and he gave it to me because he carries them around. I guess, you know, if ever he's doing stuff like that. So, and I like working retail and stuff like that now. So, like, it was just the coolest thing. It was amazing. He was a cool dude, and also he is also from New Jersey. So it was a guy from my home state who does a pretty great thing. He also specifically, he said his role in like his local, you know, unit is helping people like make their costumes to get in and stuff. So yeah, real cool guy, coolest person I've met on the job so far. Was super happy. I have the coin in my room now. Wouldn't trade that for the world. I think it's the coolest thing. I don't mean to hype it up too much, but the kind of dedication and passion that goes into something like that, to then, you know, use it to cheer up kids in a hospital, it's pretty great. They deserve some great recognition for it. So I'm glad I met him. I've never met one of those guys before. I know I said, you know, there's 14,000 of them, but that's worldwide. Like, they are a worldwide organization. So, like, you know, that's the reach of Star Wars. Is like, that is, you know, that is all of them across the globe, which is super cool. So shout out to that guy forever. I didn't get his name, but hot dang, man, I admire you, and you deserve credit for the stuff you're doing. They have a website and everything, so if you're even like a little curious about it, go look it up, because it puts into perspective the kind of stuff they do. The passion, the dedication. That's the stuff that gets me like hyped up and everything. That can get me excited about stuff I don't even care about, like sports. I don't like sports, but you better believe I love a good sports movie. Showing the passion and dedication it takes to the craft. Also, in general, that's the kind of stuff I want to do in the long term with, you know, with comics and animation and stuff like that. It's not just doing it to make money and for the sake of it. It's instead to inspire people to in some way make life better in a a mental, inspirational way, or whatevs. I'm just eating some chips. Some chips. Hi, Nerf. What's up? You know, whether or not, my, like, summary numbers or whatever, which, thoughts and prayers. Have some thoughts and prayers. Shadow Mage, I'm thinking though. Yeah, but whether or not my numbers reflect it. I appreciate it. Nerf, it's not. Oh wait, Nerf, you just got here. Nerf, do you know what the 501st are? Like the actual organization? You just I can't believe you just missed this story. Yes, I met one of them yesterday, and he gave me a commemorative coin from the 501st. It was the coolest thing. Yeah, exactly. And they go to children's hospitals and everything. That's the, I would like to say, that's the part, yeah, that's the part, like the fact they do such cool, like the fact it's such a high breed of Star Wars cosplayer, okay, yeah, pretty cool, whatever. The fact that they do it for charity work, that's the part I'm kind of like, that's what I'm harping on as being the super cool thing. For the record. Like, don't get me wrong. Cool cosplay is amazing. Play. Yeah, exactly. It's not just the fact they're dressing up. It's specifically the stuff they do with that. And I'm not like calling out Nerf or anything. But for me, like I can get other people are like, oh, you mean the cosplayers? Yes, absolutely. But I'm also mean like the charity organization. But at the same time, the argument is that the thing that makes them special as a charity, yeah, exactly. The thing that makes them stand out as a charity organization is their cosplay. Like, that is the specific thing. Their shtick, if you will. Nothing wrong with having a shtick, you know? Sometimes people come down and like, oh, it's just a gimmick, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah. Sometimes gimmicks are like, you can't boil singular people down to a gimmick, but you can boil like, what's it called? Like, you know, organizations and stuff down to it. Which in turn kind of helps with recognizing them, as we just did with the 501st. So, but yeah, it's super cool. Is it because of the game, Shadow Mage? I'm gonna guess it's because of the game. I'm gonna go out on a limb. About the Star Wars stuff they saw. Man, I cannot, for legal reasons, imagine what it would be like to visit Disney. I've heard of them, yeah, Shadow Mage. People were telling me to do that for Dark Souls. Man, Nerf, I couldn't imagine what it was like. It would be like to be at Disney currently and be looking into the Star Wars stuff here. On a different note, just keep in mind that I never mention what I do for work, just so that my bosses don't have to worry about what I say on my streams. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? I did say that to one of my coworkers at my job, that I haven't said what it is. Except I did that one time. But forget about that. Of like, I don't say what I do for work on stream. Because in case you have... I know people exist like this because there are like serial sewers and stuff like that. In case you have this stick entirely up your ass, first off, I think I'm a half decent person. You know, I think nothing I say should be like a reason to not give business to anyone. But Cahill Comics, the internet entity, is not at all associated with any person I work for as a day job. Okay? Don't bring it to them. Don't be a narc. I don't think anyone in the watch would. But if you're out there on the internet watching this, don't be a nerd. Which half is decent? My top half specifically. My bottom half is a putrid cesspit. Also, what was the thing? I do not think it's actually possible for me to beat one of my games. There are 6 or so items I can't give to people. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the details of your stuff is, Shadow Mage, but I do know for a fact that, like, because I think the best kind of randomizers, because I looked into a Pokemon randomizer sometime, because I don't particularly enjoy Nuzlocke, but the idea of being able to customize, like, what kind of Pokemon I can encounter and start with blah blah blah, without even me necessarily knowing, like, that's interesting to me. But with that in mind, like, what I wanted to do was, like, look into, like, I want different Route 1 Pokemon and different, you know, etc., etc. I didn't want to find, like, Kyogre the moment I stepped out of Pallet Town or whatever. So I looked into a randomizer, and I think the best randomizers have ways to restrict what is random. And with that in mind, some randomizers just make stuff impossible. Because they're like, we have randomized everything. We don't know if you can beat the game like this. Good luck. All power to you. This is a nice song. Is this from Breath of the Wild? Indeed, I haven't Slay the Spire. I see. Well, Shadow Mage, if you're ever having a problem with your seed, you should really go see a doctor first. I am not particular, like, I'm good at telling, like, stuff from the taste and everything. But for different medical issues, you should really be seeing a physician. If you're doing it with other people, you can always just ask them. Unless you already have them. They'll be like, I don't fucking know, man. In which case, I'm like, oh, oops. Hey, that's part of the game with randomizers. Again, like I said. Some of them, just impossible. And then it's GG. You hope to find that out, like, you know, early on in the game. But, sorry about that. I didn't make the randomizer. I don't do randomizers. I like playing vanilla games. I said that when I played Pokemon the one time on stream. There's so many, like think about how big Game Grumps Fire Red series was, and that was a vanilla Pokemon playthrough. But the rest of other Pokemon playthroughs I can think of are so typically, like, changed in some way, like Nuzlocke and stuff. So I end up becoming more interested in playing the game vanilla. And then you get to Dark Souls, where, like, I've played Dark Souls enough in my time that, sure, I'm not good enough to do, you've seen, I'm not good enough to do these challenges just, like, off the bat, but it's more interesting than me just watching me play. I would hope so. This is my hope. It's more interesting than just watching me play and get through vanilla Souls. Delicious vanilla Souls. But not an issue with the narrativizer. Then you need to literally go to a drawing board. If you think it's possible, you just don't know what to do. Then you just have to. Then you literally need to make a vision board. Is all I can say for you. Be like, okay, what's this? What's this? What's this? I mean, I shouldn't even be giving you advice because I don't know anything about Slay the Spire or its randomizers. But I'm just saying. What up with what, pig? Shadow Mage's randomizer? I don't know, you ask Shadow Mage. I'm getting the feeling it's impossible. But then I feel like Shadow Mage turns around and says, no, it should be possible. And I'll be like, well, that conflicts with the information you're giving me. I am asking that. Fair enough. You know what? You right. Not everything about you is UK Hill. I beg to differ. Everything can be about me if I make it that way. Can I just say? Nah, I'm not gonna. I was about to talk about with my coworkers, but I really don't want to do that on stream. Not even because I was gonna say anything necessarily that bad, but more so, I just don't like talking stuff about people. All I'll say is that they can be a little rude. Not on purpose, but, you know, it's one of those things. I'm sure you've met people where it's like, oh, this was kind of inconsiderate, but you don't know that. And I'm saying that purely based on me being like, I can make everything about me. I was thinking about that recently. Your stream doesn't mean it was about you. What was I just thinking of? Oh yeah. I've been thinking about that recently, about like, I feel like there can be the assumption that because I'm not a very like I'm more of an introverted person, I can get along better with introverts. And that's true kind of to a degree. I think the main problem though being is that for me personally, I can like to be around some type of extroverts more so, just because like they will be better at carrying the conversation. Do you get what I'm saying here? I don't want two people very much like myself in a room like to talk to, because if if that happens, none of us are gonna know how to have a conversation. But throw at least one extrovert into the mix who is more socially conscious, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. Timmy's your cousin. I think things work out better like that. So, I just, like I said, I tend to gravitate more. Yeah, that's right, we're given a black background. But wait a second. It's not like I love when I just go Bob Ross. I'm like, that's right. We're giving him a black background. But now just hold on a second. Cause what's that right there? That's right. It's a white oval. It's fun. Y'all ever just become Bob Ross? You should try it. Take it from me. It's a good time. This kind of sounds like Peach's Castle. Just a kind of like synth in the background. It's Hank Pym's son. Hey, Pig knows what I'm talking about. Me and Pig had that conversation after Multiverse of Madness where it's like, it shouldn't have been Reed Richards, and then they screw up the Fantastic Four's first appearance. It should have been Scientist Supreme Hank Pym. Which would have worked even better, because they didn't actually... Because, like, half of the Illuminati in that movie weren't even variants. Which means they were playing with the idea of the multiverse even less than they were already doing. I've decided that I need to dedicate my time that I'm spending in my comic just like making sure I never say the word multiverse. Because a group of certain series has ruined the term in fiction. So instead of doing that, I need to say everything besides multiverse. Yeah. We're not going to talk about it here, but things are broken bad for one of those series. And honestly good, because it sounds like that person is bad. It sounds like they're prison levels of bad. So. And we're not going to talk about that more, I'm just saying. It has ruined all interest of mine in that subject, at the very least. So. Changing subject, though. Tears of the Kingdom is supposed to come out soon, huh? Oh, Nerf, you gotta show that to Deer. Please put that in Deer's Discord. That's pretty dang good. I saw Animorphs in a series of emotes, and I was like, let me look closer at this. And it was fantastically done. This is looking honestly, I'm pretty proud of this one. Part of why I decided to redo this is just because, well, one, like I had said when I started streaming, I'm doing this on my MacBook because my PC, which I was trying to stream art from before, because that's set up for streaming. It's set up for streaming, it's not set up for art, which made, I think, the product weaker when I was done that stream. And furthermore, I was doing more of an Ultron 11 design, Well, my favorite Ultron design is, what was I thinking of? Okay, we're good. Yeah, no, I am streaming from a public place. And while most people have the good sense of, like, not just fully interrupting me, and I guess they weren't, I could have kept going, but just someone who works at this complex decided to come up and start just fiddling with the door. Which provides the only amount of soundproofing / privacy I'm afforded in this place. So, is he? I don't know how technology works. So that's fun. No, my Lord Pig. What was I thinking of? I'm not about to stop Pig for making these jokes, but at the same time, do y'all ever have a thing where people start like making jokes about something and you're like, haha, yeah, except it actually sucks and I'm not very happy about what's happening right now. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not Pig's fault. And it's not even a thing where I'm like, I'm uncomfortable with you talking about this. It's just purely the fact of like, I am unhappy with how some things are right now. I will say, okay, I have 2 weird topics to touch on because of this. Streaming from local. See, now that's funnier because it's further away from the reality of the situation. No, I'm paying for the internet here, trust me. Granted, not as much as I would if I was just paying for it by myself, but I'm not about to because I also don't get a private room, so why the fuck am I going to pay for my own internet on top of that? But regardless, there's a lot of people from all across the world who come to where I work, which again is an undisclosed location. And I'm gonna be real. Sometimes it can be frustrating, and at this point I'm just talking about frustrating stuff that's been happening while I'm living here, because it's just there's a language barrier, and like it's not frustrating because of them. Do not get me twisted on that. It's more frustrating because it's like, man, I wish I knew any language on top of English. You know what I mean? This is not a case of like, but why? But you know. I'm very glad I stayed vague. Yes, exactly. Yes, no, Pig, I'm trying not to publicize it too much, so that way my bosses don't track down my Twitch archives for reasons you can probably understand. But yeah, no, it's if I can describe that frustration, I just feel bad because they're coming up to me because they're like, hey, I need help with something, and I'm doing what I can to try and help, but I usually devolve into charades. So the foundation has been altered. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's not frustrating because of them. It's frustrating because of the American education system. That I never learned any language besides the one I am. And And again, it's a frustration on myself because they're being very polite and they're being very patient with this dumb child who does not know what to do. But I'm just like, oh no, please, I'm trying. I'm so sorry about that. I just get very apologetic because I'm like, I am so sorry. I want to help you as best I can, and I'm sorry I'm not. I'm sorry I haven't paid for Babbel. I really need to. It's made me realize, yeah. Well, so for traveling reasons, I want to learn Japanese because like I want to visit Japan and I'm not expecting people there to like speak English for me. So and like, you know, it's a decently far away place. So, I'm not going to I imagine most people there are speaking Japanese. But I imagine the one I'd get the most use out of here, not just here, but just like in America and in like just the local countries in general, probably would be Spanish. It'd be great if I knew most Spanish. If I could speak Spanish, I'd probably be doing much better. Isn't Spanish like one of the most spoken languages as well? So it'd be useful for me to know it. And again, yeah, and I just want to hammer it home. My frustrations about the whole thing is due to the fact that I personally do not know other languages. Nothing else. I realize that could go. Some people, some real jerkbags could go a different way with that, but no. I'm upset. I have yet to learn other languages, so that I may communicate with people across the world. Other languages are neat. Again, I don't know if it needs to be said, but first off, English is a hodgepodge. English is a fool's language, roughly constructed from the scraps of its neighbors, and lacking proper singular person, gender neutral pronouns, which is the big thing. There's that was in a comic, and don't get me wrong, they them pretty great, but it can get confusing when you're trying to refer to a singular person with that and also a group. Third or fourth most spoken language is pretty high. Anyway, let me get on to the second frustration I had, which is I was at kind of like this garage sale thing around here, and they had a replica Dooku lightsaber. And as I was looking at it, contemplating whether or not I wanted to buy it, a woman came up and took it out of my hands. I'm not exaggerating. I think her son or her like husband, it was one of those. I didn't get a good look at either of them. Like, he was definitely into Star Wars, and like he was also collecting like exactly, and it's one of the coolest things. So I was like, man, maybe I should get this one because I've been contemplating getting a replica one. She just took it. Yeah. But there is a place near me that sells good replica lightsabers, and I think that just helped me decide that I should specifically be getting a Dooku one. You know? Like, it helped me narrow it down to the type of saber I should get from that place. And it's narrowed it to Dooku. So, with that in mind, I think I'm going to go kind of with like a Jedi Dooku saber. I'm thinking Dooku hilt, blue blade. Because I prefer using a lightsaber over the Force, frankly. I prefer a bit of sword play. If you know what I mean. And I'm not one of those people, who are like, no, you, I'm not fucking I'm not Star Wars Shadow the Hedgehog here. I'm not just like, no, I live by no code. I use my rage for power. I need a red saber. No. And that, even when you go into the extended universe, where there are far more examples of good dark side users, the dark side does not have as much of a does not have much of an appeal for me. I prefer being nice to people over killing them. I was actually thinking about this though, because as I contemplate if I want a replica lightsaber, what kind I want, there's the argument that, like, Jedi say they're peacekeepers, but they're using these fucking wild weapons. Counterpoint, what was it thinking of? The lightsaber is the only weapon I know of in the Star Wars world, and also in general, that can safely amputate a limb without risking the person's life. Lightsabers cut that thing off pretty cleanly. So if there's one weapon... Yeah. Okay, so I do know the meanings of all lightsaber colors, but we all know the reason any lightsabers have different colors is, one, to tell the difference between good or bad. Two, because Luke having a blue lightsaber in the third movie would have made, like, would have blended in with the blue skies on Tatooine. And three, because Samuel Jackson wanted a purple one. But regardless, I was just thinking of, oh yeah, but yeah, I'm just making the argument that if there's any kind of weapon that would be suitable for keeping the peace, I heard type that what he said. Yes. Listen, we all know Samuel Jackson is cool. We all know he wanted a purple lightsaber. I respect the man for it. He got what he wanted, and now we all get it. And, like, to be fair, yeah, it just gives Lucasfilm and Disney more opportunity. Don't fucking... I'm unplugging phone. It just gives Lucasfilm and Disney more excuse to make different kinds of merch for people to buy. But on the other hand, it also means everyone who likes Star Wars gets their own custom color. And that's... And, like, you don't have to spend money on that. You could just... You can just ask me for a drawing of your Jedi with the specific lightsaber color you want. You know? You can draw it yourself. You can make fan content of it. And that's just cool. It's more way to express yourself as a fan of a franchise. So... But yeah, let's see. Have I said this on stream? Let me be a real nerd for a second here. If you don't know, there are a couple colors of lightsabers, and in fiction they mean different things. Kamen Rider Ultron. Yeah, we'll go with that. Thank you, Laz. Laz, weren't you streaming? How was your stream? For what in lightsabers? So... And Nerf can correct me if I'm wrong. Let's start with the kind of the outlier. Sith lightsabers go through a process utilizing the dark side of the Force that ends up turning the crystal inside red, which is why all of them are red. It is kind of an unnatural process that they do to get that color. Blue means you are a person who prefers using a lightsaber in combat over the Force. Green is the opposite. You prefer using the Force in combat over your lightsaber. Yellow means, yes, yellow. Yellow means you are kind of intellectual. You're out there looking for knowledge and answers for things. Over, you know, just like fighting and stuff. Orange means you resort to violence as a last resort. You are the most pacifistic of the Force wielders. Purple means you have a balance of like light side and dark side. You are someone who is very aggressive in combat, but not to the point of going full dark side. White means you're not aligned with any of this shit. It means you are kind of outside your typical Jedi Sith shenanigans. And black just means you're Mandalorian. There is one black lightsaber. It's the Mandalorian lightsaber, which was used by the one Mandalorian Jedi, and has now become and was made prominent during the Clone Wars and, of course, the new Mandalorian series. I don't know if it has any meaning besides the fact it was made by a Mandalorian. Classic Star Wars. Is your willpower? Yes. I would say one of my coworkers really likes Green Lantern. He has a tattoo of green and blue lanterns, which is how I knew he was cool. Because anyone who knows the blue lanterns are cool. Because I'm working on a different computer. Larfleeze. And we started talking about stuff like that. And we both have an appreciation for Kingdom Come Green Lantern. Hey man, ants. What else was I thinking of? Yeah, but we also kind of both agreed. I think Green Lantern should be its own universe. I think the Green Lantern series works best in the vacuum. Because Green Lantern can and is pretty cool. Also, I super agree, Pig. I love that Juice and Laz are here. Oh, but when you have the Justice League and Darkseid running around, it makes the Space Cops seem kind of stupid. And yeah, they have a lot going on. But that's what I'm saying. Putting that in a universe that also already has Superman and Darkseid and the New Gods and the Speed Force. I said Space Cop, but they can be Space Cocks. They can make Space Cocks. Nah, go to prison, Nerf. In a world of much, I just realized I used "in a world," but sometimes it's appropriate. Don't act, Juice. Listen, sometimes it's a good line. In a world full of threats, antithetical to life itself. In a world where I'm Laura. Listen, you want to write the dialogue? Fucking someone get over here. Lord, please leave. Fucking, you bitches want to write my comics? Get in here. I didn't go to 8 years of med school for you to criticize my writing. Lord. That was 15, right? Oh, that's... Okay, yeah, that is. The system works. I'm rehabilitated. I do not... Laz with a crazed... Oh, I thought it was Laz. Nerf with a crazed look in their eye. Just being like, I am fully rehabilitated. I do not miss life in prison. A world of this is the wrong format as well. Sometimes comics is just writing. Sometimes there is no art. Sometimes you only write. A world of devourers, mad titans. What's like the other? No. And time traveling conquerors. More like conquerors. Oh no! Kang traveled back in time and slept with my wife! Oh no! Kang traveled to the future and slept with my wife again! Are there any timelines where Kang isn't sleeping with my wife? One Earth Yarth bound threat. Stands among these gods of death. Is that too dramatic? Let me read what we have so far. In a world full of threats, antithetical to life itself, a world of devourers, mad titans, and time-traveling conquerors, one earthbound threat stands... I guess Earthborn would be better. Earthbound is a Marvel villain? Ness, no! But Ness, I made your favorite thing puppies! Are you gonna kill us? With the power of PK puppies? And its name is big text. Let's kill. Yes! Kill! Okay, let me read what the text on this splash page says. In a world full of threats antithetical to life itself, a world of devourers, mad titans, and time-traveling conquerors, one earth-born threat stands amongst these gods of death, and its name is Ultron. I like referring to Ultron as it. I think it plays into his character well. I think it's real easy to fall into the idea that Ultron... Because, I mean, part of Ultron's whole thing is that as much as he hates humanity, ironically, the emotion makes him more human itself. But... it's still kind of a killing machine. in the most literal sense. Also, if you don't know what this is for, remember when we did grad goals? Yeah, well, this is one of them. I'm gonna do a short comic. It's gonna be like maybe 1 or 2 pages, not counting this one. This would be 2 or 3. And it's just Alex kicking the shit out of Ultron. Do y'all want to know do you want to know a fun, terrifying fact about my boy Alex? The one my comic is based around? Alex can look within the existential core of all things and tell if something is really alive or if it's faking it. Alex knows whether or not you have a soul. And if you don't, he doesn't really care. Who, Ultron or Alex? Because I would argue, at the least, Alex, just by fiction measures, just for narrative measures, is like Beyonder. Well, not Beyonder or Galactus, one of those. Like, narratively, he'd be like Franklin Richards. Someone with a lot of power, but maybe not necessarily the desire to use all of it. Fun fact. I don't know if this is considered a retcon, but at one point, Franklin Richards, son of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, was considered a mutant, as in, like, you know, X-Men and everything. And that was revealed to not be entirely the case. He just has reality-bending abilities from birth, and he decided being a mutant sounded cool. So he made himself one. Alex versus Kirby, who wins? Friendship, Pig. Pig, if you think Alex would fight Kirby, you completely misunderstand the core of the character to begin with. I'm sorry to tell you. Why would you fight a vacuum cleaner? Alex could not bring himself to fight Kirby, and if he did anything to upset Kirby, he would run away in a instant smaller than could be measured in time. Alex would be across universes within seconds. Well, how long until Kirby wins? Not incredibly wrong. I imagine it would be like being in a wind tunnel, though. Galactus is trying to eat Kirby. Kirby is trying to eat Galactus. Like, I mean, Kirby wins because Galactus is literally the thing Kirby kills as a day job. It's not funny how many things like Galactus Kirby is regularly destroying. There isn't a fight. It's like, it's... Yeah. What does the fight look like? I mean, I think it looks like the end to every Kirby game. Kirby picks up one of the dozen weapons he has, powered by friendship and love, that is capable of killing gods, uses it on Galactus, and Galactus is dead. In real time. Kirby wakes up one day, and he sees that Popstar is being invaded by the force of a first world nation. For most people, it's Armageddon. For Kirby, it's lunchtime. Failboat makes some fun Kirby videos. I like the stuff he's done. Oh my goodness, my throat. Yeah. Never forget that in the newer Kirby series, there was a planet conquering, like basically a nihilist. If we're going with the Marvel analogies, a nihilist came to planet Popstar, and Kirby stopped it in a day. A nihilist came to Popstar, and Kirby took the opportunity to learn how to drive a car. Kirby treated that threat like it was a school assignment. He was like, "This is my chance to learn something." And one of the powers he used to stop it was called Circus. A robotic army whose sole purpose is to conquer and wipe out life on planets. And Kirby literally clowned on them. So, it's I love Kirby. Honestly, that's kind of the best pitch I can give for my comic. Alex's goal is to become like unto Kirby. Alex is not looking for the power of a god, he's looking for the power of a Kirby. Let me save the... Ultron.png. I'm pretty happy with this. I thought I did a good job. I think it's a good comic drawing. With the help of Alex Ross, an S+ tier comic artist, we have made a good looking Ultron. But do you know what time it is? It's time to see if we can raid people. Let's see who there is to raid. I appreciate y'all coming to this, hopefully my first morning stream. I will say Thursday will be a 7 o'clock EST night stream, as we've done so often in the past. What was I thinking of? Greg is live, also chair. Let me see. What? Wait. Just chatting. Can breathe on. I think Tria just started, so I want to rate Tria. Also, Greg is streaming Ragnarok, and I don't want spoilers on Ragnarok. Up, Shadow Mage is there. I see you, Shadow Mage. Unless he left chat, which is also okay. I encourage double dipping. I love when people are watching my stream with someone else's. What do you mean my ad is about to start? Okay, well, I'll see you guys later because my ad's about to start. Bye.